All right, let's give you an update now on the situation in the Middle East. The continued bombardment of the Gaza Strip has worsened the humanitarian situation of the 2 million stranded Palestinians. Some hospitals have now run out of fuel and the necessary supplies. Thousands have been displaced with no food nor water. Alyona Syneko is from the International Committee of the Red Cross, and she talks to us from Jerusalem this morning. Good morning to you, Alyona, and thank you very much for your time. Let's begin the conversation with what seemed to be the latest news coming out of this conflict, and that is that there may be some hope that Egypt could potentially open its borders to Palestinians who are stuck in the southern part of Gaza. Is there any credibility to that information?
Well, we're following the situation. We hope, of course, that all the people who want to reach safety and go out of Gaza, that they can do that safely, that people can reunite with their families. But our priority as a frontline humanitarian organization is the situation for civilians in Gaza, which is getting more and more dramatic and more dire by the minute, with bombing ongoing, with people running out of food, water and medical and health on the verge of collapse.
When you talk about the situation becoming more and more dramatic, are you able to paint a picture of the exact developments there right now?
Well, we have our surgical team of 10 people that arrived to Gaza a couple of days earlier, and they started treating their patients. And they are receiving wounded patients, and they are receiving children. And some of the children, they lost their entire families. Our colleagues who are working in Gaza, they also have been trying to find the safe location for their own families while continuing doing their work. And what people say is just incredible. Every night when they go to sleep, they are afraid that they may not wake up because there's just no place in Gaza today that can be considered safe.
Even the southern part is not safe.
The people in Gaza everywhere is risky, even the southern part. And for civilians, the situation is more and more dramatic, where what we've seen is that many people are trying to seek shelter in the hospitals. And when we visited the hospitals, especially in the northern part, we saw people there hiding and sleeping in staircases. And that, of course, makes also the work of the healthcare professionals even more difficult. And they just psychologically, it is extremely difficult situation for everybody, and including for the doctors and nurses who now have been working non-stop for several weeks, and sometimes they don't know if their own relatives are among the wounded people that they will have to treat on that day.
How difficult, Alyona, is the situation for health care workers in Gaza right now? And I ask you this question against the background that says, at least this is the narrative from the Israeli Defense Force, and that is that Hamas is operating from within hospitals, or at least they have set up some of their camps underneath the hospitals. Is there any credence to what they are suggesting, that Hamas is using civilians, and worst of all, civilians who are injured, lying in hospital beds, as human shields?
Well, we are a humanitarian organization. We don't have intelligence and military information to be able to confirm or otherwise any of these reports. We're a humanitarian actor. And what we see is and what we hear from the medical professionals who are working in Gaza is that the hospitals have been filling up with more and more of wounded people coming in, and that the doctors and nurses, they have been working continuously, and with shortages, acute shortages of water, electricity, fuel to run the generators, and essential medical supplies. And for them, even if they receive an order to evacuate the hospital, we just need to be realistic about what they're currently able to do in these extremely difficult circumstances. When we look at the hospital, there are people who cannot move. We are talking about babies in the incubators, people on life support. How can you move a hospital in a short period of time? So I think we should think about the humanitarian imperatives first and foremost when we look at the hospitals and the situation that they're currently facing.
All right. Thank you very much for your time. Alyona Syneko is from the International Committee of the Red Cross, speaking to us from Jerusalem. It continues, unfortunately, to be a depressing picture, particularly for the people of Gaza who continue to face bombardment.